This cargo style electric bike claims it can do 59 miles of range on pedal assist 1 or 31 miles on pedal assist 5. We'll see what kind of range I get out of it today on our 18-mile test ride, and we'll also see how well it can climb a 20% grade, what the acceleration is like, what the top speed is like, and how good the brakes are. Back brake on the right. Let's pull the lever, see if we can. Current MSRP and any discount I can offer you will be linked below the video in the description box, but do not buy the GoTrax Porter just yet. We gotta crack this thing open and see whether or not it's worth the money. So it looks like this one will be rolling on spoke wheels, which are a little bit lighter than mag wheels, but more importantly, they are a street-friendly design and 3 inches wide by 20 inches tall. So a little bit more nimble than a traditional 4-inch wide fat tire, and the brake rotors will be 180 millimeters. Comes with metal fenders, and this cargo style e-bike has folding handlebars. This one has green paint, although there is one other color. Click the link in the description box to see the other color. And the GoTrax Porter is a cargo bike. Looks like we have some nice guards here to prevent anything from getting in the spokes as you're riding along. And the rack has this beautiful wood finish on it. It's actually really sharp. And technically it's not really a rack, you know, like a rack attaches onto the bike. This is the bike. Look at the welds. Welded here, here. I mean, the whole thing, it's just, it is the bike frame. So you'll be able to carry a larger load on the rear compared to a rack attached onto a bike. Hence the name cargo bike. And that's why it does have a center stand kickstand, as opposed to a kickstand on the side of the bike where the whole thing would lean. The center stand allows you to load up weight while you're parked, and the whole bike won't tip over on you. We're working with a long chainstay here. This extra little cog down here keeps the chain higher up so you don't scrape it on something when you're riding. And to keep things simple, it appears we will be rolling on a single gear. The GoTrax branded hub motor is rated for 500 watts of nominal output. They could probably do peak burst for more, depending on how strong the controller is inside this box, which does not appear to be listed in the technical specs on the website. But what is listed here is the battery is UL 2849 compliant. Let's check it out. GoTrax branding on the frame, and we can see the battery is semi-integrated here on the bottom. A set of included keys will free that up with a turn. Pull this latch to the side, it'll drop right on out. The battery weighs in at exactly 7 pounds, 9.8 ounces. It is listed as a 48 volt, 10.4 amp hour, 499.2 watt hour battery. So the smaller size of this battery helps keep the weight down. This little button right here will show you how charged it is, which, speaking of charger, what do they give us? Stop. So we get a nice little user manual here, quick start guide, and of course the charger, branded GoTrax. 48 volt system charge to max is 54.6 volts. This is a 2 amp charger on a 10.4 amp hour battery. A basic calculation tells us 10.4 amp hours divided by 2 amp charge rate. That'd be about just over 5 hours to charge this battery from completely empty to completely full. Comes with plastic pedals. It's got a little bit of cleats there, but the plastic will make them much easier on your shins in case you bump yourself. And it comes with a GoTrax seat. And with the use of the quick release lever, you can drop it right on in. There are markings to adjust your height, so this bike could easily be used by multiple users. A look at the seat from the top reveals it is pretty wide. Got a good level of a squish, a little bit of shape to it, and a somewhat interesting headlight we'll take a look at in a minute. But another interesting thing about this e-bike is the handlebars are folding, which helps you store this bike away, make it a little more compact when you need it to. And it also makes the handlebar height adjustable, so it makes it fit more people of more heights more easily. But usually when we see folding handlebars, we also see a folding frame. This e-bike does not have a folding frame, which makes sense. It's a cargo bike. It's got to be a little bit more robust for carrying more weight. This e-bike does not have suspension on the front fork, nor is there suspension on the rear or the seat post, which does help keep the total weight of this thing down. If you do want to add suspension, you could throw a suspension seat post on this bike. It's a pretty effective option, which if you do decide to go that route, this is a 31.8 millimeter seat post diameter. We'll take a look at these handlebars and the controls in a minute, but first let's drop that front wheel on there, which is actually super easy with this center mount kickstand. Yeah, usually I'm like fighting these bikes to get this wheel on there. I think it'll just balance itself right up there. Sweet! The wheels will go on with a nut and bolt, so no quick release lever. Makes it a little bit harder to take the front wheel on and off for both the good guys and the bad guys. You'll be less likely to get this wheel stolen. Probably makes a lot of sense to go this route on a cargo bike that's long. It's not like you're gonna be popping this wheel off and loading up inside of a car or anything. Fenders on, pedals on. on. Battery on, which I should mention can be charged on the bike or off the bike. Here's the port to charge the battery. I topped it up a bit while I was building it, which this was a super easy build. And we'll fire it up in just a minute, but before we do that, since it is a cargo bike, let me show you some of the mount points. So you have something back here, another mount point right there. So all of the accessories for this bike can be found in the link below this video in the description box. This one here is for some floorboards to put your feet. If you're not using it, you can just put these in there. And then as I mentioned before, this will prevent, stuff from getting in the spokes while you're riding, whether it be a passenger back here, getting a shoelace or clothing stuck in there, or saddlebags, whatever. You don't want stuff getting caught in a rotating spoke, especially with that motor. So then up here on top, we get eyelets right here. Then you get two more eyelets right here. So there are attachments you can add up here. There's a seat you can put on it. There's railings you can put on it. And then up front, this is your mounting points here. Looks like the headlight is occupying these. Not sure if they have an attachment where you could use these with the light on there. And then obviously we get this light back here that is wired into the bike. We'll fire it up here in a minute. Grips are ergonomic style. They are rubber. Feel pretty decent. Brake levers are mechanical disc brakes. We'll take a look at those in a sec. There's a bell on the right, a little bit of rise to the bars. And here is the display we'll be working with. Power that thing up, peel this guy off. It is a basic display, small little battery bar there, reads out our battery. If you want to brighten things up, you can hold the plus button for about 2 seconds to turn on the headlight, also turns on a backlight. In case you were wondering, you can hold this minus button for about 2 seconds to put in walk mode. You just hold it there. We're in walk mode now, see the little walkie guy on the right? That's pretty typical on like all e-bikes. Then we can tap our M button here, shows odometer down here, trip time, and odometer. So basic readouts. And if you want to get into the advanced settings, you would hold plus and minus, and it's one of these cryptic ones. That's what the manual's for if you want to mess with the advanced stuff. And then obviously we get our 5 levels of pedal assist. So down here is the pedal assist indicator, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. And of course, in addition to the pedal assist sensors, there is a throttle in case you don't feel like pedaling. Pretty nice feeling throttle actually. I've not seen one like this, but it actually has like a little groove, little indentation in there. I'm actually digging that. That is an unexpectedly cool feature. I was kind of surprised by that. It's kind of like a thumbprint kind of looking thing. Yeah, pretty ergonomic actually. Love it. So on pedal assist 5, floor it. That'll take us up to... On throttle, it will peak us out at 20 miles an hour. And as you can see, we have a fairly bright LED back here. When I grab the brakes, it will light up. It is a brake light when I grab the lever. I can hold that plus button to turn that light off. Light's completely off. If I grab the brake lever, it will light up as a brake light. Around front, here's what we're looking like for headlight. It's got a little dual light going on. It is mounted to the frame so it doesn't turn with the steering wheel. So whichever way the bike is pointed, it will point straight ahead. Actually, I kind of pop the wheel up and down a little bit. You can see the light moving off in the distance there. And when it's time to stop that wheel, you grab the brake. Let me show you the brakes. These center mount kickstands kind of makes it easier to kind of rotate your bike around just like so. Oop, I have a new mark on the wall back there. Trying not to scratch up the floors here too much, dude. Yeah, that's nice. So the brakes we'll be rolling on this bike are mechanical disc brakes on 180mm rotors. On mechanical disc brakes, you might have to adjust these knobs every now and then when the pads start to wear down. But one of the nice things about mechanical disc brakes is you won't ever have to do a brake bleed on a hydraulic line, something that you're gonna eventually have to do on all hydraulic brakes. Not mechanicals though. These are a little bit more easier to work on for the everyday dude who's not, a bike mechanic expert. So to give you an idea of the size of this bike, I am 6'5", inseam 34. To get this center mount kickstand down, you just kind of roll it forward, drop it on down. So with the seat on minimum height, and the handlebars drop to minimum height, this is, well, not quite a step-through frame, but kind of like a low-step frame, kind of easier to get on than if it was higher. Here's what I look like getting on this bike on minimum settings and what my pedal stroke would look like on minimum. So I think this bike would fit somebody of a relatively short stature. But of course, you can crank that seat up all the way to maximum, as well as the handlebars. And now this thing looks like it actually fit me. Let's try it out. So inseam 34 looks like this bike will actually feel pretty good for me to ride. Yeah, I think so. Then to get this thing back on center mount stand, just kind of kick that down, pull the whole thing back. Boom. Just a couple more matters of business here before we get outside. We'll throw it on the scale in just a minute. The weight of this bike is listed as 73.5 pounds. And you can see all the accessories in the link below in the video in the description box, but I just kind of want to show you some here. So I don't have them, but they have the floorboards, and then there's like a little cage up here, as well as a seat that goes on the bike. So this would be to carry a passenger on the rear, and obviously you can use that little basket back there just to carry stuff. So check it all out in the link below. So let me get on the scale here, see what I'm weighing in at today. 198.0 for just me. And since I have the battery in there already, I'll just pick this whole thing up here, step on the scale. So with the battery on it, me holding this bike, 266.8. 68.8 pounds. Not too bad for a cargo bike, dude. So according to my scale, that actually weighs in a little bit less than what they say. Nice. And here are the suggested real world range tests. We'll be running on Pedal Assist 5 Plus. I'm gonna be using a lot of throttle. Let's go do it. All right, dudes, let's take out the GoTrax Porter. We got this thing fully charged up. We'll bring the manual so we can unlock the top speed if possible. And I don't have any accessories today, so we'll use our imagination. Per usual, we'll fire up the Strava so we can track our official range on today's ride. So let's get this thing off the center stand, climb aboard, whoa, and get on out of here. So here's what the lights look like in the elevator after you hold that plus button down. Turns on that rear light too, brake light too. So the very first test we're gonna do is run it up to 20% grade. I weigh 200 pounds, we'll put on Pedal Assist 5, throttle only, and see what kind of power we can get out of this 500 watt nominal motor. So to my surprise, it's actually pulling us right up the 20% grade. Nice. Typically a 500 watt motor struggles a lot more on the 20% grade. And that was throttle only, did not pedal at all. Actually fully prepared for that to fail. Let's see, can you see that screen through the polarized lenses? It's pretty dim as is. If you put the lights on, and it'll give you a little bit of a backlit display. When it's light out, you actually can't really tell. You can see the screen. It's not like the brightest screen I've ever seen. Let's try out the pedal assist mode. So pedal assist 0, obviously the bike gives you absolutely no power at all. Let's go ahead and bump it on to pedal assist 1. It is a cadence sensor. Let's see what pedal assist 1 will do. And there's just one gear on this bike, so there's no gear changer you need to worry about. Very simple operating machine. Hub drive, don't have to worry about banging up your gears on the back. This is just a get on and go kind of bike. So this is taking us up to 11 miles an hour on the cadence sensor, pedal assist 1, bump it on to pedal assist 2. Stock settings here, it'll take us up, small bump up to about 13 miles an hour here. And pedal assist 3, another small bump in power here, taking us on up to 15 miles an hour, 15 and a half. And thinking back to that hill test, man, I'm actually really surprised that thing climbed the 20% grade. And I am having a little bit of problems getting this gear to stay lined up on there. I don't know why exactly. So with the cadence sensor, it doesn't matter how hard you press on the pedals. It's gonna give you whatever power it is in accordance to whatever number you have there. So we have it on pedal assist 4. Let's just see what kind of power it gives us here from a stop if we just kind of start pedaling a little bit here. Yeah, it gives us quite a bit of power pretty quickly, and this will take us on up to 17, 18 miles an hour. Regardless of how hard I press on the pedals, I can just kind of ghost pedal here. So if you don't want to get any exercise on this bike, you can just pretend like you're pedaling. Just kind of rotate these pedals here, not even putting any power in, and it'll still give you power. Then of course, you know, you have the throttle here as well. And the throttle operates in a way where you can bump it down to pedal assist 2, gun it, and it will give you full power and take you up to the top speed of the bike, which is factory limited to 20 miles an hour. Coming around this corner, I can tell the lightweight nimbleness of those 3-inch, 20-inch tall wheels. Pretty playful feeling bike. And the pedal assist 5 will take us up to 20, and then if we start just pedaling a little bit, we are factory limited to 20 miles an hour as well. And with the size of the battery on this bike, you're probably gonna not wanna be going, you know, over 20, you know, up to like 28 or 30 miles an hour on this, because your battery does drain exponentially faster as you hit those higher speeds due to wind resistance. And you know, in combination with a not huge battery, you don't want to kill all your range super quick. Or maybe you do, I don't know what you want to do. So out of the box, I'm actually having a little bit of trouble with this cog popping off, the chain popping off the cog. I need to adjust the high limit because when I'm pedaling here, it's popping off to the right. Not a big deal at all. So on the left side is the low limit and on the right is the high limit. We just need to adjust the high limit a little bit here to get it proper. And with that turn pretty much all the way to the right, I think it's gonna stay on there now. We'll see. So this frame does not have a front fork suspension or rear suspension, so it's probably not going to be your #1 option for doing off-roading, but it does help keep the weight of the bike down by not having that suspension parts on there, as well as keep the complexity of the bike down for maintenance down the road. In theory, should help keep the price of the bike down as well. Let's see what kind of speeds we can hit out here on the road, merging in the traffic. Obviously, we're still capped at 20. And we do have mechanical disc brakes on this bike. Oh, there's a nail down there. So being limited to 20, I wish this mattress and all this junk wasn't on the road right here, but it's still here. What is this we got going on? Is that electric? Oh yeah, that is. We'll get in the electric bike lane here, keep on up with this. I believe that's a Super 73. It's like a fun car. So let's go ahead and do a 0 to 20 acceleration test on this bike. Probably not gonna be your #1 speedster bike, but thumb throttle on the left, pedal assist 5, GPS on my right hand. Ready, go. 5, 10, 15, 19, 20. So pretty, you know, normal, what I'd expect for a 500 watt nominal motor. Definitely gets you up to speed pretty quickly without pedaling at all. And as we only have 1 gear on this bike, what is the natural cadence for cruising with that 1 gear? I'm going about 13 now. This feels good. Yeah, once I start getting up to about 17, 18, yeah, I mean, you know, it's acceptable. You probably don't really want to be pedaling this thing any faster than 20 miles an hour though, unless you want to be the Energizer Bunny going absolutely nuts on that cadence. So I'd say it's geared well for cruising, you know, 10, 15 miles an hour. All right, let's bump that speed limit setting up. Hold these 2 buttons down. Go on over to ST2, SE2, set to 19.8. So, oh shoot, actually 19.8 is the max. Yep, miles per hour, 19.8 is the max. It'll return you back to 7. So, unless you want to change the wheel diameter on SE1 and make things funky. 20 is the max on this bicycle. And it is a cargo bike after all, not a race bike. Still got enough to get up and go to pass the acoustics and the birds. Looks like the LAPD is out on the 4-wheelers. We'll get out here and try this thing on the sand in a few. But before we get out there and try the easy stuff, we're gonna get up here and see if these 3-inch wide street tires and 500 watts nominal power is enough to get us up this hill with a little bit of pedaling, no gears. Just barely made it through to my surprise. This is pretty harsh riding right here. I'm kind of just popping off the seat. Like I said before, you know, no suspension on this bike. You're gonna want to keep it on the pavement. So we'll go ahead and run this thing on the boardwalk and then try it on the sand. Obviously 3-inch wide tires are not ideal for sand. Some of these bikes do surprise me. We'll just run it through the normal tail heavy circuit. Now you could put a suspension seat post on this bike, you know, if you want to get a little more comfort. Let's see how we can do here in the sand. So those tires, they're pretty much just digging right into the sand. We're kind of torquing along just a little bit here, but yeah, don't buy this bike to ride exclusively out on the sand. You need 4-inch tires, maybe a little bit more power than 500 watts. But it's worth a try. Now, while these 3-inch wide street tires don't crush it on the sand, they do really well out here on the pavement. You're gonna get a little bit more range and efficiency out of a street tire compared to a knobby tire, and they're a little bit quieter. So we got a couple more tests here to try, then we'll see what the final range is. 8 miles into this ride, we are greeted with an 85-foot cliff. We're gonna ride on up. Excuse me, sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to exit the scene.
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening, man? What's going on here?
There was this car, I think, back, two cars. One got rear-ended the other one, and that one tapped that one.
Oh, man.
The airbags deployed on both of them. And
holy crap.
Everybody seems to be okay.
That's good. So of course we're not gonna run it straight up that cliff. We're gonna take the 12% California incline, and we'll see how this thing does going up the loop-de-loop here. What is that, some moon shoes or something? So we'll roll into the California loop-de-loop grade here. It is a 12% average grade on the way up. I had to hit the brakes there for a minute. So it is pulling us up on throttle only. And we'll go off to the right here. And on the way down the California incline, we will try the brakes as we get to the bottom of the hill here. And starting from a dead stop here on the bottom of the California incline, throttle only, 11, 12, 14, 15 miles an hour, 16 miles an hour. Throttle only on the 12% grade, 17 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour. And the battery is voltage tagging down to 2 bars right now. 18.1 miles an hour seems to be where we're pretty much gonna top out on the California incline. And now we're gonna test the brakes going down the California incline, pulling about 20 miles an hour. They are 180 millimeter rotors. They are mechanical disc brakes as opposed to hydraulic disc brakes. Back brake on the right. Let's pull the lever, see if we can stop right before the wall, of course. So for these smaller, lighter wheels, these mechanical 180 millimeter rotors are actually just fine. They don't really feel quite as smooth as a hydraulic lever, but the maintenance will be a lot easier for, you know, an everyday person to do on them. When it comes time to do maintenance, you'll never have to bleed the brakes. So in the case you need to stop quickly from about 20 miles an hour, just pull on both those brake levers and Yeah, you got good stopping power, man. So we are sitting at about 2 bars on this 500 watt-hour battery. We'll head on home, check the final range, but first, let me leave you with my final thoughts. So MSRP on this bike right now is $1,600, and you can get the best price below this video in the description box. If you click on that link, it'll give you the best price and also help support my reviews here on TailHappyTV, and I greatly appreciate your support if you do decide this is the electric bike for you. So there is absolutely no suspension on this bike at all. It does ride fine as long as you're on like a perfectly smooth, nice paved road. Once you start getting on some more rough terrain, it does get pretty bouncy, although you could get yourself a suspension seat post to make the ride a little cushier for the driver. Now, of course, that doesn't do anything for the cargo. And since there is no suspension, it does help keep the weight of the bike down. So this is actually a relatively nimble feeling cargo style electric bike. Part of that lower weight is due to the smaller 500 watt-hour battery pack. So if you know you're not going to be going really far, you know, it's always best to have the battery that's going to get you to where you want and not carry around an excessively large battery, you know, especially if you know you're never going to be going like long distances. We'll see what kind of range I get out of it here shortly. And I do like that this bike does actually fit me pretty well. I can get a pretty good pedal stroke in on this bike. You know, it doesn't feel too short for me. My legs can extend at 6'5". Handlebars come up nicely. You know, you can adjust both the handlebars and the seat. So it does make it easy to, you know, make this bike fit riders of multiple heights. It can be like the family bike. Also, this is a single speed electric bike. So, you know, your best feeling cadence is going to be right around 10-15 miles an hour, and you know, it'll keep things simpler. You don't have to worry about changing any gears or anything like that, and you can just kind of smash on that throttle and go when you want to go. So let's go check the final range. Oh no, we're down to 1 bar and we still have a while to go. Check it out. Check out this car, the all-electric Rolls-Royce Spectre. My goodness. Thing is looking sharp. Unfortunately, my $1,600 e-bike is gonna smoke you, bro. Well, that is if we have enough battery to make it home. All right, dudes, just crossing over 17 miles. Average speed today was 12 miles an hour, 24 minutes of ride time. And if we come to a stop, take a closer look at this display, it is showing 1 bar remaining, which makes sense. It is a 500 watt-hour battery, and I was running on throttle pretty much all day long. Let's turn it off back on. Still shows 1 bar. So I'd say, you know, it's pretty much par for the course on a 500 watt-hour battery, running at 20 miles an hour, not pedaling. I think they say you could do 31 miles if you're on pedal assist 5. That's probably assuming you're actually pedaling and not running it, you know, like 20 miles an hour the whole time. So there you have it. That is the GoTrax Porter. If you want to grab one, click on the link below this video in the description box. Buy through that link. It'll give you the best price and also help support my reviews here on TailHappyTV, and I greatly appreciate your support. However, if this is not the kind of electric bike you're looking for, watch this video next. Catch you over there.